What's going on? This is your boy June Archer here, the Winner Circle. This is 50.com, Motivate You. My special guest today, he is an amazing recording artist, rapper, musician. Please give it up for my brother in music and, of course, my hometown guy, Chris Webby. Chris Webby, what's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Just maintaining, sticking to the artistry. Got a whiteboard full of songs and hooks and beats I'm working on. Lack of touring. It's been driving me a little crazy, but I'm just so used to touring. Is 10 years of that being like the consistent cycle. You get used to things. I had 75 shows last year, so to go from that to 0 shows,
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So let me ask you now, during COVID, how has it been on the creative side to actually be able to kind of sit home? You're not on a tour bus, because I know you got a tour bus. You're not performing, hitting radio stations.
Well, we got a van. It's a really nice van. It's a Sprinter Mercedes. I own it, got the trailer and all that for the merch and everything, but I'm not that cool. I don't got my own bus, but pretty cool.
But how has the creative process been treating you since you've just been sitting still?
You got to keep nurturing it. In the beginning of this whole endeavor, I was pretty supercharged. It was nice. It was like, wow, I actually got some time to sit down and really focus, because last year I dropped music consistently all the time. That's my business model for the past 4 years. Before that, it was the mixtapes and this and that and, still consistent music. But now it's singles all year. So to keep up with that with touring the past few years has been a lot. And I haven't had as much time as I would have liked to put towards the music. Now I got all the time in the world. So at first it was really nice. And then, you hit that little bit of a slump where, creativity. Yeah. One of my buddies, Grizzly Adams, he always says creativity calls from a block number. You don't get to choose when it calls. And when it calls, you got to answer.
Got to pick it up.
Kind of being ready to rock when you get struck with that creative lightning bolt and taking full advantage of it. But there's definitely been some slumps, like June, the month of June in general was kind of like an L for me mentally. I just hit a creative block and, that's life. That every artist hits those points, especially when all I'm doing right now is making music, it's just rattling them out, and they're not at the sacrifice of quality, but we got a lot of shit right now. We got a lot of shit. But it's always going to be an ebb and a flow, just like the tides. So you take advantage of it, accept it when you're not feeling it, and then go do something else and live life as much as we can during quarantine.
Now for you, when you get into those slumps, right? For those who are watching, listening, who are creatives in any field that they're doing, what is the best thing that you can offer in terms of advice when you're in that kind of slump? When you're in that frame of mind where you're like, you know what, really not liking this idea, really not liking that idea, but finding a way to push through. What's the best piece of advice that you give someone who's going down that path?
And have a chemical solutions on the one hand where you can alter your mind state. I've been microdosing with mushrooms quite a bit, which is actually really interesting. That kratom, there's various natural drugs and various things, so to speak, that can alter your brain space a little bit, but that's not really necessarily the answer. I would say ultimately the answer is to just accept it and go live life a little bit, and just allow yourself that time to hit a slump. Everybody hits a creative slump. You know what I mean? You got to just instead of trying to squeeze water from a stone, just sit back, because you're not going to be at your best if you're trying to force it.
Correct. I know for you, as following your journey, I know at one point during COVID, you just said, you know what? I need to take some time off. And I think you and 3 friends just went hiking, just kind of get your mind off of something. Sometimes that's the answer. How important, because you obviously had someone to turn to, how important is it to have, this is called the Winner Circle, to have that circle of friends or family to help you get through situations?
It's very important. Everybody has their own vibe, and just like I have mine, it's affected by the other people around me. And, I've built a business. I run a business. I'm an independent artist. And part of that business model is to be surrounded with the proper energies that help me function at my best. So, you know, during the first stretch of quarantine, a lot of that got removed. And, you know, I'm just left here with my own vibe. And, you know, it's just me, my girlfriend, and my roommate who, you know, living at the house. So it's like now that we've started to safely reintroduce some people into the circle, it is really important, man. I mean, you surround yourself with winners. In the winner circle, you're more likely to win. That's just a guarantee. And you learn in life the people add things and make you better, and the people who detract things and don't make you your best. And you just try to surround yourself with the best people you can, you know? And there's a lot of pitfalls you can make. There's a lot of duplicitous people in this business, you know what I mean? And it's tricky. And as you know, I've been through the ringer. You know, right. I have survived. I'm going on my 12th year, you know, independently, and have met all sorts of characters, and, you know, good people, bad people, people who walked all over me, took advantage of me. You know, I've had to learn all these lessons. But that's the beautiful thing about life. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, if you're anything. You learn by your mistakes. People can tell you things a million times, and maybe some people listen, but I always had to learn things directly from experience, you know, and that's how I have become the artist I am. That's how I become the business owner I am. That's how I become the man I am today, is by learning from the mistakes that I've made. And I think it's, you know, there's an element of I don't look at mistakes as a loss. Right. You know, you learn. And if you make the same mistake twice, then yeah, that's your fault. You know, you should have done better. But I embrace the mistakes. I embrace the L's, you know, that's life. You never just catch nothing but wins.
You're not going to always win. Even Jordan says some of his shots never went in, but he kept taking those shots. You know, so you never know until you continue to just put up shot, swing that bat, or whatever it is that you do. Continue to work on what you're working on. With that mindset, though, Chris, that transcends your music, because you're very particular. You're very articulate and very precise when trying to do something with another artist. When you have a feature or you're featured on it, what is your process? Take us through your process in terms of how you connect and coordinate that with other artists.
Right. So one thing for me, I think some artists go about getting featured the wrong way. They just want to get somebody who's popping at the expense of who would be best for the song, you know? And I think I have a pretty keen ear when it comes to thinking of who would sound good on what songs, and being able to put those pieces together, whether or not they're, you know, a smaller artist than me, who I know will absolutely murder it, or if much bigger than me and we're shooting for the moon, you know, which I'm going to be doing and have done a few times throughout the course of my career. But, you know, and just trying to make the best song possible, you know. And there's another element of when I get features personally, I want my feature to make me want to rewrite my own verse. You know, I want them to go in. I want to have the best song possible. It's my song. Right. So I got no problem with someone, you know. I love when people are debating on the page, like on my own song, who was better, you know. I got a song with King Crooked Eye, man. He's, you know, I would say he edged me out. And it's like one of the best verses from him I've ever heard. But it's just like the song in general is just so impactful, and we both went in, you know. So it's like there's no losers when everybody's like giving their performance. No, my own guy Annoyed, you know, who was signed to my imprint, ADHD, who's an animal. We dropped the song Yippee Ki-Yay earlier this year. It was the first song I dropped this year. And he came over to my house. This is pre-quarantine, and he dropped his verse for that, and I had already laid my verse down, and I was like,
"You like, I gotta get back." And I was like, "Give me 5 minutes. Let me get back in the booth."
Yep. And I had to go back and rewrite my shit. And there's no in that. You know what I mean? Like that's dope. That's great. That makes me perform better. You want to surround yourself with players who are gonna like make you up your game. You don't always want to be like the best. You want people to be better than you sometimes, so that way you're encouraged to improve your own game, you know?
Elevate your game. Exactly. I mean, they say iron sharpens iron. So if you continue to have those people around you, there's no reason why you're not going to elevate yourself. I want to ask you, man, we've known each other a very long time, and this platform is to inspire and motivate people to do and be their best. For you, what motivates you, man?
Well, I just love hip hop and I love making music, and I still have that feeling, and it's important to keep that feeling because it's really easy to get distracted by the money and the business element. And now that I am running so much of it and so many things do pass through me, you know, I'm really the nucleus of my entire operation. I have a whole team, but nothing gets done without my go ahead, which I've found to be the most effective approach. So sometimes it gets really distracting, but you got to stay in love with that feeling that you have in the beginning where you record a song, you get in the whip, and you're excited to show it to your friend. Oh, they're in there, they doing the mean face, you're like, oh, that's just hard. Like you got like that's feeling, and just imagining that times thousands of people all over the country listening to the song and enjoying it and bobbing their head, and like that to me, I still love that, and I feel like a lot of artists lose that, and it just turns into like song equals money thing, and they lose the love of the craft, the love of showing someone else your music and them genuinely being like, yo, these bars are crazy. Or, you know, especially when it comes to bars, I feel like a lot of people stop caring at a certain point, you know, and you got to stay sharp, man. And I'm a very unique case where, you know, I didn't have such an easy uphill road, you know, that my road's been always going upwards in the grand scheme when you look at it from a 30,000 foot view, but there's been a lot of divots and, you know, potholes, and that has kept me sharp by circumstance. You know what I mean? Like I've never just straight up caught a huge W and been like rich, you know, like I've always had to keep scrapping, you know, and I carry that mindset now to where I am more successful financially because now there is the Spotify's and the Apple Musics, and now I am making a much better living on a money scale, but I still have that mindset where it's like I'm still hungry, like I'm trying to eat the food off your plate when it comes to spitting these verses and shit.
Right, and you've been grinding, so we're gonna talk about the independent piece because there's a lot of people, a lot of artists who are and producers who are looking to do what you're doing, or the Kendrick Lamars, right? And for them, Chris, roadblock after roadblock. Door in their face time and time again, the consecutive no's. What do you say to the person who's trying to do it independently, who may not have a shot, because everyone doesn't have a legitimate shot at getting on these streaming platforms or getting in front of the, you know, the traditional A&R person that can discover them?
You don't need those people.
No,
I never had those people.
Exactly. So I want you to talk about, and briefly, because I think if people follow your career, they understand you weren't even begging to be played on the radio. Like you guys, you don't got to play me on the radio, right? Mm-hmm. So for that independent artist watching and listening now, best piece of advice you could give them on staying focused on the goal.
100%. I mean, basically what it comes down to is for a very, very long time, artists needed other people to do all these things. Now, artists like myself, and there's several others, we can do it all. We don't need the labels. We don't need the radio. All you need is the fans and the wherewithal to put the right people in the right places. I am capable of a lot. And once you realize how capable you are, I'm also capable of finding the people who are capable of doing the things that I'm not capable of. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to market per se, but I got my Spotify playlist guy. I got my YouTube. I got my different guys in place. I got 7-8 people on salary year round, who are involved. I have my entire tour squad. It's like 10 people right there. So it doesn't start there, right. But it's all about the listeners. If you have the fans, the ball is in your court. Don't let these people tell you you need this and that. You don't need any of that. It's about how hard are you willing to work to be good at what you do and to push yourself forward constantly. Because I'll tell you, when I was first starting out, I was everywhere I thought I needed to be. And that's how the game was back then. Now, you just got to put the work in. And a lot of it's on the internet. A lot of it's sitting in the studio and then pushing your shit on the internet and relationship man. Like, relationships don't just happen. You're not automatically, we go back fucking 11, 12 years. You know what I mean? Like those type of things you can't manufacture. It's about just building relationships, people nurturing shit, and just staying focused, man. But don't let these label people tell you you need all this shit, because you don't need all this shit. You can make a healthy living being an independent artist as long as you can engage the people. So it really comes down to, what do you have to bring to the table to have people listen?
And talk about that, Chris. I think that's a piece that a lot of people in whatever industry that they're in, they don't realize the power of networking. You have been one, even from the New England Music Seminar and managers that you've had, you've managed to not only connect the dots, but keep the relationships going. How important is it for independent artists especially, but for anyone in any industry, to stay connected when they network?
It's really important. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I'm not even the network master, but I think I have people in my circle who are definitely network masters, the Chris Furies, etc., who, are more, have their finger to the pulse of what's going on. But my thing is, I just have always kept it real, I always pay people when it's time to pay people. I always, keep it a buck. Tell the truth, speak my honest opinion. And I think I'm never trying to be something that I'm not. And I guess that, when you stay authentic for long enough, just truly yourself, people respect that, and you build friendships, and you find other people. Like I have so many rapper friends that I genuinely admire, who are great rappers. And we go back, I met Locksmith at Sway in 2012, and we just did a song last year that was on my project, and we got Sway to do a monologue on it, type shit. You know what I mean? Full circle. You just, right. It's not like you got to be texting people every day, like, yo, just checking in. You know what I mean? But it just keep it genuine and real.
Has there been a feature that you have wanted to do that you're like, you know what, got to make this happen? Like, this is on my bucket list. Is there a feature or two that you want to see happen in the near future that is on your bucket list to be like, you know what, this will round out this portion of my journey to have this person or be on a record with this person?
Stay right here on this 50.
A record with 50 would be dope. Okay. All right.
And I'm at the point, man, like, I'm having so much fun making the music. I want to make music. I want to have songs with the guys who inspired me to do this originally. And 50 was obviously a really big one in my coming up as a young MC. This is when I was like first tinkering with it. Get Rich or Die Trying came out. That was like, man, that was the Bible. That was everything and more. So I think that would be incredible. There's a few others, DMXs, the Waynes, guys that were, M would be bananas. Royce. I just think, when it comes to that element, the guys that really gave me purpose in the first place, these guys are my heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be where I am today without these guys. Exhibit, like, the list could go on. But the guys who really inspired me to become who I became and would not be without.
So let me ask you this: top 5 dead or alive, who is it?
Oh man, and I get asked this question a lot, and I never have a firm answer, because it just changes. And then it comes down to, like, are we talking
bars,
saying genuine skill set? Is it bars? Is it song making? Is it like a specific era of that artist? Do you know what I'm saying? That's a tough one. You know what I mean? And but I mean, a lot of the artists I just named are definitely towards the top. I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to Eminem, because again, it was the timing of when he came out, and me being a white guy just being like, wow, that's possible. And not only is it possible, it's possible to do at the apex level. That was something that, and I just, I was driving back from Vermont when I took that little time away, and I actually ran the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP back to back with the skits and everything. I hadn't listened to them all the way through like that in a long time, and it took me back, and it incredible, man. But there, man, was just like everything to me. When Dre was involved, Dre and Scorch were making the beats, 2001, Genesis, Busta Rhymes, like that era, Restless, Exhibit. Those were all huge albums for me. And the beats were, the melodies and, because melody was really important. So like a lot of the stuff, as much as I fucked with the East Coast sound, lyrically, especially, the West Coast, like the beats that were coming out of there were crazy. And I almost identified a little bit more with that just because like I just come from a musical background. My dad's a guitar player, so like melody is very important to me. So I was loving, the beats and the melody is really important to me personally. You know what I mean? Like that's a big part when producers send me beats. I mean, at this point I pretty much just work with one producer, which is, while I'm on that, I do suggest that for artists to really have a main producer where you can like
lock in.
You're on the same mission together. You're not just like going through folders of beats. Like, I have a bunch of producer friends, don't get me wrong. And I will continue to work with other producers, but having one guy in house where we're just taking on the world together is really a good approach, because you got two people whose minds are aligned on the music entirely. It's no emailing. It's like right here with me, and we're doing that. But
no, that's dope. That's dope.
What was I saying before that?
It don't even matter. So we were talking about Top 5 Dead or Alive, but
the ADHD, you know what I mean? My brain just scattered.
I need some ADHD gear, so I'm putting that out there.
Yes, and so ADHD is that's the label, that I have now created, and it just given a pipeline. I've spent all these years building this pipeline and just being able to offer that. So far, just to Annoyed, who's from Connecticut, incredible artist, and being able to bring him in. We're already super tight anyways. But that's the kind of ideology, but it's spelled out 80, like the number 80 HD, but obviously ADHD, like what I got going on in my head since I was a kid, But you learn to work, and that's one thing, man. Let me tell you, a lot of people got a lot of problems,
Right.
Mental, the brain is a complex thing. Some people are dyslexic, all these different things. And ADHD is my thing. But what you learn is that with every downside comes an upside. You know what I mean? Because I'm ADHD, I am scatterbrained. I do have to keep a to-do list on my phone. I had June Archer, 2 p.m. Like if I don't write that shit down, I will forget. My brain is scattered in a million places. Right. But with that downside, which you learn to cope with, I have the upside of being able to hyper focus on a level that most people can't.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of freestyling when I was younger. That's a big part of the songwriting. When I'm locked in on something, I can't, it's like blinders, right. And I am all the way in, and it is a superpower. You just got to learn to deal with the downsides of it, No.
So that takes us to a great segue here. So I've been playing this game called University of Dope. Right? It's a card game about hip hop. So, Chris Webby, we are getting ready to jump into University of Dope. Now I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions and we're gonna go in. All right. So if you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only listen to one album, which one would it be? Black on Both Sides, Most Def, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul, or The Chronic, Dr. Dre?
Chronic, but I would prefer 2001.
2001. Okay. All right. The
best will be my second.
Best hip hop duo: Mobb Deep, Method Man, Redman, Jadakiss and Styles P, or Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre?
Man, I gotta give that to Meth and Red. Okay. I gotta give that. I love. You know what I mean? I gotta give it to him. Like, that's just personal preference at that point. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but
right. Okay. Greatest diss song of all time: Hit 'Em Up by Tupac, Ether, Nas, No Vaseline, Ice Cube, or Second Round, Knockout, Cannabis?
I would say Hit 'Em Up, because Hit 'Em Up is also a song that you can play out of context and it still goes hard. Like, you don't gotta be like, oh, this is this diss song. You could play that at a party and, you know, have people singing along. I would go Hit 'Em Up for its ability. You know, you could play that anywhere, no context.
Pick the best rap group from the following: Cypress Hill, The Roots, Slum Village, or Salt and Pepper?
That's tough. I would give it musicality wise, man, The Roots. I'll give it to The Roots.
All right.
That's tough though. Cypress Hill, the influence as well growing up.
It's your Throwback Thursday. Who's your DJ? Kid Capri, Red Alert, Fat Man Scoop, or DJ Kool Herc?
I gave it to Kid Capri.
Kid Capri.
Kid Capri with the skills. Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna dive in deep now. Chris, you ready? We're gonna dive in deep. Yeah. I'm gonna go deep into the deck. Just because he's in the news. Best Kanye album: Late Registration, 808s and Heartbreak, My Beautiful Dark.
College Dropout. That's my always. That's my shit.
One Gotta Go: J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, or Childish Gambino?
Drake. I know that. Yeah. Hey, personal preference, right?
It's personal preference. Reinstate one back into hip hop. Would it be Guru, Jay Dilla, Nate Dogg, or Big Pun?
Damn, bro. I miss those Nate Dogg hooks. Man, that's tough though. That's like, these are impossible questions, bro. What are you doing to me right now?
Listen. So
I'm just going on the knee jerk. You know what I mean? Yeah,
right.
Nate Dogg.
If these four MCs were on the same track today, who would come out on top? LL, Rakim, KRS-One? Oh, that was easy.
He is the generator of the multi-syllable rhyme scheme that I so frequently use myself. You know, right. I think he was the first apex MC from, you know, and I'm 31, so I wasn't around for everything. You know, I've gone back and done my history, but yeah, Rakim.
The influence is there. If you had to erase one person from hip hop history, who would it be? Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Lauryn Hill, or Missy Misdemeanor Elliott?
Damn, dude. Erasing people now? This is fucked up. This is how people get canceled, you know, these days. I just off the strength of who I know the least about, I would say MC Lyte. I mean, obviously not Lauryn Hill. Yeah.
Okay. This is where it gets tough.
MC Lyte, damn, like, you know.
Yeah. I didn't tell you it was gonna be easy. If someone wanted to experience hip hop for the first time, what album would you give them? Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest, Enter the Wu-Tang, Straight Outta Compton, NWA, or Paid in Full, Eric B. and Rakim?
36 Chambers. That raw, gritty, guttural New York shit. I feel like that's a pretty good training course right there.
Stay Woke, the best politically conscious song. Fight the Power, Public Enemy, F the Police, NWA, Hip Hop by Dead Prez, or My President, Jeezy?
What's my favorite, or what do I think has the most?
The best politically conscious.
I mean, Hip Hop by Dead Prez is my favorite song out of that list, but I wouldn't say that it's the most politically. Fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. Hip Hop Dead Prez. I love that song. That beat is insane. All
right, Chris Webby, erase one person from hip hop history.
Oh, fuck that! I'm not. Fuck that. No, I'm not answering. I refuse.
Chris Webby, thank you for playing University of Dope. Before I let you go, though, brother, two things. Obviously, you are a white guy. Yes. I don't see you and I don't see color. We've known each other for quite some time. For you, just really briefly, because I know how you think. I want people who are watching and listening to know the Chris Webby I know and love. what do you want to see come from the George Floyds of the world that has happened, as we have been caught in time, in a time warp, and we're trying to bring about reform and re-education of everything? What would you like to see happen moving forward?
I think, you know, conversations and relationships like this, where it's like, it's not even a thing that gets thought about, you know, and that's where there's such a disconnect to me, that racism really does still exist. And that's insane. You know, like most of my idols are Black or Hispanic, you know, with the puns and, you know, so it's like, yeah, the M, okay, he's the white guy, you know, but most of the people I looked up to in the field that I grew up in are Black. So it's just like, I just really thought that way. My mom was a teacher in you know, Norwalk Public Schools. That's not how I was raised to think. But hopefully, these conversations, you know, just lead to enlightenment. I think that, like, there was a level, and still there will always be a level of white ignorance. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's like to be Black. I never will. You know, I can only listen and open my ears and open my heart to what I'm being told. People experience, open my eyes, you know, and just do my best to, like, help and also just be an example. You know,
I appreciate that, man.
Music is going to be cool, man. Like,
yeah. You're right. You're right. We'll do better. I believe we will do better. So,
and it's tough, man. I mean, when it comes to the politics of right now, I feel like there's nobody that speaks for me or most of the people that I know. Because like, Trump doesn't speak for me, but neither does fucking Joe Biden. So, you know, where's our guy? Where's the guy who's gonna be really on our side and talking about the things that we care about? You know, and not using them as a political pawn to get their way in all these situations, man. You know, that's why I've always across the board said, fuck politicians, man. Period.
No, I'm with you on that, man. And I appreciate you sharing that. Music is a soundtrack to our lives. What is the best song that is the soundtrack to your life, or the song that puts you in the mind frame to when you're in a slump, or when you just want to get your day started, when that ADHD kicks in and you like, I have to put this on, I have to listen to this artist? What song or what artist is that is a part of your soundtrack to your life?
Well, it depends on what kind of vibe we're trying to get. Annie Up remix tends to get the job done when you need a little wake up. You know, as far as like when I'm driving, when we're on tour, you know, go back to the hotel, shower, we got to go back to the show. It's about time to go, you know, crack the bottle of whiskey, sit with my DJ and drummer, you know, in the van, getting ready to rock in front of Annie Up comes on. And it's like, yes, we got this. Let's fucking go. You know, like that's the song that song is my spirit animal, basically. You know, that shit gets me hyped. How can you not get hyped?
It makes you want to tear something up.
It does, you know, and it's just it's so cool how music can make people feel all these different ways, you know. And I'm lucky to be part of a generation of hip hop where I got to watch so many different forefathers master all these different elements of the craft, and I get to take little pieces of this and that and learn how to create and cultivate all these different vibes. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, that late 90s, early 2000s, like that was the shit. That was the best time in hip hop ever by a long shot, in my opinion. Granted, I wasn't around for, you know, some of the earlier, like, you know, I was a baby. I was born in 88, you know, so like I wasn't, and it's different when you're not tuned into it as it's happening, you know?
No.
I love, you know, Soul, Otis Sam Cooke. I listen to that, like sitting at the dock of the bay. That's my song for the other vibe, you know. Right. That's where, like, if I'm trying to chill, sitting on the dock of the bay is my go-to. But music is a beautiful thing, man. And I don't just listen to hip hop. In fact, I listen to more not hip hop than hip hop nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, I either go back to that 90s, 2000s era,
right,
or I'm on soul, or I'm listening to some like psychedelic Woodstock, you know, some Jimi Hendrix, some Janis Joplin, like some Rolling Stones. You know, I got a pretty wide variety of listening. So I think it's important to keep an open ear and not just listen to hip hop if you are a hip hop artist as well, you know?
Right.
I'm wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt right now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and I ain't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I'm representing the Wu-Tang. We're in heaven and hell. So I'm with you. Listen, I appreciate you, man, coming on the show. What can we look forward to, man? What are you dropping next?
Music all year, man. Music all year. I drop a single every other week. You know, and we just dropped the Drugs in a Suitcase video, which is a very psychedelic experience that you know, plays to the taking the mushrooms quite a bit throughout the course of this quarantine, and it's based on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is about Hunter S. Thompson, the journalist, you know, the movie with Johnny Depp. I don't know if you've seen. It's a great movie. But, you know, we kind of did what we could with a green screen on the side of my house and just went wild with it. And it actually ended up being, I think it's my favorite music video I ever did. So there you go.
Dope.
Like the lowest budget of all time, like the cost of a green screen and a camera guy for a day.
Where can we follow you and where can we see you moving forward, man, so we can continue to be locked into the journey?
Chris Webby, everywhere. My YouTube is For the Burbs, you know? Somebody's got to represent the burbs out here.
Somebody has to. And Chris Webby, you do it very well. I appreciate you, brother. I love you, man. Listen,
you too, brother.
Chris Webby, artist extraordinaire. He's not just a rapper. He's not just an MC. He's an amazing young man doing some amazing things from an independent artist perspective. And he's not just a businessman. He's a business man. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is June Arthur. Motivate you to win a circle here on thisat50.com. Please, man, call somebody today. Tell them you love them. Tell them you care. Even a random act of kindness goes further than you think. And make sure you take care of yourself and always keep your head up and a smile on your face. This is your boy, June Archer. Peace.
Peace out.